Hello everybody, how is it going? It is JewJuBee here and welcome back to Planet Zoo, where we are in the Forever Green Wildlife Refuge, where we started in the last episode. We built a beautiful entrance plaza as well as we placed a shop that we built in a live stream. In this episode, we're going to be adding to the zoo and, adding some animals in. And I went ahead and I was, a little bit of a burst of inspiration one night in the middle of the night, and I drew out an entire map of everything that I wanted in this zoo. So as you remember from the last episode, I mentioned I only want 20 animals in this zoo and 16 habitats, which the animals, I listed them in the last part, that I wanted to have so that the park was kind of, capped off. There wasn't an endless expanse of what we're going to put in and never knowing when the end is. So I wanted to have sort of like the cap off of where things are going to be. Also, I know me as a gamer, one of my biggest problems is I come into a game and I want to do all these things. I make a huge list of everything I want to do, and then when I come into the game, I'm like, what do I even do first? Where do I even begin? So I went ahead and drew out a map of everything that I want in the zoo, and hopefully you guys can see that. I'm going to put it on the screen now. This is the map of Forever Green Wildlife Refuge. So this would be the map that you would get like if you came into the park and they handed them out on pieces of paper, or if they had them posted in the zoo. This is how I want everything laid out. We have 4 major areas. There are the herbivores, the reptiles, the primates, and the carnivores. And we're gonna start over on the right side of the zoo, right of the entrance, where we're going to start with the herbivores. And as you can see down in the bottom corner, the first exhibit we're going to do today is kangaroos and koalas, which I'm super excited about. We just got them with the new Australian pack, so I'm really excited to jump into them first. And then as you can see, as you progress through the zoo, we hit the reptiles. As you can see, they're there on the left side. And we're also going to have a reptile house for people to see like the insects and the bugs and stuff like that. We're going to have the primates, orangutans, lemurs, gorillas all together in a nice little primate area. I want them to be kind of close together so that we can have a lot of elevated paths so that people can, be up in the trees essentially with these animals. Then towards the back, we're going to have the carnivores because those are kind of more high ticket items. People really want to come see, the lions and the tigers. So we're going to push them towards the back so that way people will walk through the entire zoo. And as you can see, we have a few other little bits and bobs that I'm going to add in. I have a campground, a couple hotels. I want to do some resorts. We also have the transport ride. I don't know which one we're going to do yet, but this is the layout or the path that I wanted to do it. This way, it hits every single exhibit. We're also going to have a few amphitheaters around that way, and learning facilities as well, so that when school trips come with a bunch of kids, there's places for them to sit down and learn hands-on and really get to learn about the rehabilitation processes of these zoos. It's a wildlife refuge. This is where animals come to be rehabilitated or to help their species be rehabilitated. So I really wanted to have a lot of amphitheaters for shows, or not really shows, but like learning seminars maybe once a day where people they will go and talk about the different animals that they have at the zoo and why they're doing efforts to help them, as well as some learning facilities like classrooms and stuff like that. So I'm really excited. I think this is going to be really cool. We're also going to have some areas where we can learn about the nature, so not just animals. As you can see towards the back, there's going to be a botanical garden, and then there's a few other places up near the front. There's a eucalyptus grove where we're going to learn about eucalyptus trees, and just stuff like that. So I think it's going to be really cool. So we're going to go ahead and jump into it. We're going to do this video the same style that we did the last one. We're going to do a bunch of jumps so you guys can see the process as we go instead of like a time-lapse speed build. I just feel like that works a little bit better for the style and the way that I want to do it. If you want to see the full-on build, the process of it in real time, I did this on a live stream, so I went ahead and posted that live stream. It should be posted about the same time this video goes up, so you can watch that more organically if you want to see more of my thought process. So that's really if you want to see that. If you ever want to catch a live stream, we do Planet Zoo live streams on Saturdays from 3 to 6, which is usually what the style that I'm going for right now. The structure of these videos is I'm going to live stream and build whatever it is we're doing for the episode, and then I'm going to go through in the episode and sort of talk through it more like this. So if you want to see the more process of the builds, that will be in the live streams, which will always be posted on this channel. And then we'll have the episodes to accommodate those as well. So let's go ahead and get to the first jump and see where we're going to be placing this kangaroo koala exhibit. Okay, so here are the foundations of the koala kangaroo exhibit. As you can see, excuse me, it is a very large exhibit. It is almost 4 times the size of what these animals really need, but I think that's fine. I really want this to look like a huge exhibit. I want them to feel like they're in their natural habitat. I want this to feel like you're in the outback of Australia, you know? So that's why I don't really mind it being too large. As you can see, we have this road going around the back. If you remember from the map that I showed you guys, I want to try and have all of our staff facilities and staff members staying on the outside of the zoo, or not the outside of the zoo, but sort of around the outside perimeter of the zoo. And so all of the habitat entrances as well as staff facilities are going to be accessed through this back road. And then all the guests will stay on the inside. And I just feel like that's a kind of cool challenge to try and do. I think it comes out really cool. You'll see as the process goes on, we're going to have a little bit of a building over here where the animals can sleep, their little hobbit house, I don't know what I'm trying to say, as well as a nursery for the little babies to go. But yeah, I'm really liking the shape of this. I wanted to try and do something a little bit more organic. I always do like square exhibits and habitats, so I wanted to try and avoid that as much as possible. So I think this is like really cool, big space. And what I was trying to get was that if you're sitting here by the campfire and, you know, hanging out at night and watching the animals run around, I want it to look like you're just hanging out in the outback. This fence is a little bit tall for what we're going to want, so you'll see in the next part we're going to adjust that. But yeah, I think it's really cool. You really get a nice view of the habitat when it's done. So we're going to go ahead and jump to the next part. It's a bit of a small jump, but we're going to go ahead and jump there so we can see the progress. Okay, so as you can see, we're getting a little bit more foundations put down. We have our habitat house put down here, and as you can see, it's split into two. And the reason for that is we're going to have a cassowary exhibit on this side of the building. So this area is exclusively for them, and then this area is exclusively for the koalas and the kangaroos. I think it looks really cool. We have a little bit of a parking lot here and these large doors so that, for instance, if they are trucking in a whole bunch of animals or something, we have these huge doors that they can access. And then the actual exhibit or the habitat doors are hidden underneath there. So that they can get to them, and it looks like they're using those doors. And then everything is kind of, I wanted to make it look very utilitarianism, or utilitarian. I'm sure you guys hear that word all the time in people who are building in Planet Zoo, because I feel like they use it all the time. But really what I wanted to do, so we have the corrugated iron walls as well as concrete floors and walls, so that if for whatever reason they have to come in here with like maybe a bleach water or something like that to spray down the walls and stuff, they can. So that's why we did that like that. I don't think we're going to really do too many interiors because, these are just going to be like big warehouses, and after we put the lid on, we're really not going to see in here. We did an interior for this building. I think we'll do a couple here and there, but for the most part, I think we're going to kind of just keep them blank and just what the game needs for it to function. I'm thinking that we're going to have like a nice windowed area here. So maybe we'll dress up this interior just a little bit so that when the guests look in to see the animals, they'll have something to see. But for the most part, we're not going to do too much for interiors. And then as you can see over here, we got a bit of a ditch going on. And the reason I did this is because the kangaroos need 10 feet tall gates or fences. And I don't want it to be that tall for the guests to be able to look over and see. So we put this in here, so now it is 11 feet in height for them to try and jump over, so they can't. But it is only about, I think, 3 feet for the guests. So they'll be able to look over, even the little kiddos. And what I like about this style is that if you are looking into the exhibit, you don't see like a huge dip down, and it just kind of looks like it's flat. Like you would just imagine it comes straight up to this gate, but it's actually got a huge ditch down there. So don't drop your kids in there. But yeah, I think that looks really cool. So now if you're like hanging out up here by the campfire, you can really see all of this. Well, I mean, this big fern is in the way, but you can see, the whole exhibit, and the animals are going to be running around and having fun. It'll be a really nice place to hang out during the sunset. So we're going to jump to the next part. It is going to be a bit of a big jump. I can't remember which part is next. But I know we're going to have a big jump where we're going to get all of the terrain work and nature put in for the animals. So one thing I did want to mention is what we're going to do for sort of like a layout here is this little bubble that pops out here is going to be kind of like a forested rainforest kind of area for the koalas. So there's going to be a lot of climbing structures over in this area, and then it's going to kind of taper out, and most of this area is going to be a large sprawling kind of grassland area. And then we'll have a bit of a forested area here as well. So that way the koalas will kind of hang out over here, and then the kangaroos will hang out over there. So we're going to go ahead into the next part and see where the progress is at. Alright, so as you can see, actually not that big of a jump, but what we do have now is our staff facilities and the floor plans of these buildings are kind of finalized. This is how they're going to stay for the rest of the build. And we also have animals in the zoo now. So as you can see, we have a bunch of koalas and kangaroos all running free. They're probably not too happy. There's not much in here for them. But we also have some climbing proof put onto the gates because the koalas can climb out. So yeah, so now we have the animals in. We do have, we have 1 male kangaroo. Look at him hanging out here. And we have 9 female kangaroos. And then we have 1 male koala and 4 female koalas. And then we are going to keep mating turned on for now. That way we can get some animals out here into the nurseries, the little babies. But we do have aging slowed down a lot. We have death through aging turned off, and I think we have like fighting and fear and stuff like that turned off as well. So they'll pretty much be happy. Welfare is a problem. We will have to worry about welfare, which isn't a problem for this exhibit when it gets done. But I just want to have that aspect of actually having to care about what they're, the animals and stuff like that. So welfare is turned on, and a few things are just tweaked to make it a little bit easier. Look at them, they're so cool. But now for this back area, as you can see, up here we have a staff building, keeper's hut, and a trading center so they can get the animals in and out. And then over here we have the vet and the quarantine and a little bit of a bigger keeper's hut. And this is going to be the building where essentially you would assume that they do like research and stuff for the little babies, and that's where they'll stay. The kangaroos and koalas will stay in this one. I don't think we'll do too much detail work on these just because they're kind of temporary living quarters. So I'm going to go ahead and jump to the next part. The next part is a big jump. We're going to get all of the trees and plants put in. And I think it's going to look really cool. So we're going to go ahead and jump to that so that you guys can see how that turned out. Alright, so as you can see, a very big jump. We have all of the plants and natures put in, and this is kind of how it's going to stay throughout the build. There's only one more jump after this. So I'm going to show you guys what we got done. So as you can see, we got this huge forested area like I wanted. This is kind of where the kangaroo or the koalas can hang out. I used an inspiration photo of kind of like a rainforested area. So we have all the eucalyptus trees in here and a few, I think they're called sour gum or something like that, gum trees, gum sapling, I don't remember, gum something in here, because the trees were kind of like really tall skinny trees, and then there was a bunch of greenery up top. Whoa. So that's what we went ahead and did. And then near the bottom we have a lot of dense kind of ferns and what's this, bracken and stuff like that. And then we have a little bit of some clearings down here so the animals can walk around, as you can see. So we can see like the areas that they walk and hang out. But they do love hanging out up here on the climbing structures. As you can see up here, we have a little guy hanging out up here. We have some platforms and some toys and stuff for them to climb up and hang out and play on. And then as well over here we have another one with some toys and stuff up here for them to hang out. You don't really get too good of a view of them. I mean, I think it's actually a pretty good view, to be completely honest. Like, this would be a phenomenal place to come and watch them. But we also have the windows over here, so if they are walking around on the ground, you'll be able to see them. Or like right here, you can see that kangaroo very well. Like, how cool of a view is that? Phenomenal. But yeah, and then over here for the kangaroos, I wanted to leave this pretty open because I would imagine they spend a lot of time running around and sunbathing. But we also have this area over here in case they wanted to get out of the sun, get a little bit of shade, hang out by the trees. They have some toys and stuff to climb up on. The kangaroos, or the koalas, do come over here sometimes. I'm not a really big fan of them coming over here and hanging out. They climb up the trees a lot and hang out over here. I don't really want them over here too much just because the guests can't see them, and we only have 5 in the exhibit as it is. Now, they get a little bit upset when we get more in here, but I don't know how much of a problem it would be since it is a large, large habitat. So I'm thinking we might add just a few more animals into this. I'm thinking we might add like 3 or 4 more koalas and maybe 3 or 4 more kangaroos, just because, you know, we do have this huge ditch and then water right here. So if the guests are watching from here, it's kind of hard to see them. I mean, we will have a transport ride that will kind of get them into the exhibit to see a little bit better, but it is a little bit far away to kind of see some of them. But I don't know, I'm torn between whether or not I want them to have really good views and be able to see these animals really good, or if I want the animals to feel more at home in, you know, in their natural habitat and not to really have to worry about too many people seeing them. So I don't know, let me know in where did that koala, the kangaroo just go? I swear we just saw that one. There he is. So let me know in the comment section below whether you think we should focus more on the guests being able to see them, or if it's more important for the animals to feel like they're at home. So yeah, but I'm thinking it's coming out really cool. We don't have any guests in the park, and it's actually really funny why we don't. So I actually did two things wrong when building this zoo. The entrances in here for them to get into the zoo are backwards. That's the first thing wrong, so nobody could get past them. So we do flip those around by the next jump. Also, what I forgot to do is put any spawners over here. So we're supposed to have a spawner right here and a spawner underneath here so that the guests can spawn there and enter the zoo. We actually forgot and left them over there. So as you can see, there's a super long path over here. And that is because all of our guests are spawning over here and making the long hike all the way to our zoo. Look at all these people. So in the next part, we do fix this. We get this part demolished and taken away, as well as this big path is gone. And people start spawning over there and getting into the zoo. But I just thought that was kind of funny, all these people walking like 15 miles just to get to the zoo. But we do get that fixed, and we get a couple people in the park hanging out. But yeah, I'm thinking it's looking really cool. I love the way this feels. I feel like it would be just a nice cool day to hang out here in the shade. We do have some bed pads here for them to come and hang out. But yeah, I'm thinking it's really cool. The only thing is I think we just need some more animals. So I'm thinking, well, I just think maybe 4 or 5 of each to get some more in here. But yeah, look at the koalas swimming. I don't know why that looks so funny to me. Anyway, the next part, the only thing that we do is finish off these buildings, and they're just kind of like a nice warehouse kind of style. But that's the only real big jump that we're going to see. So I'm going to go ahead and get to that. I'll see you guys in the next part where this habitat will be finished and complete, and we can see how good it looks. Okay, sorry if you guys hear like a really loud banging. I have some new neighbors moving in upstairs, and for some reason they're like having a tap dance challenge upstairs, so if you hear any like loud banging, I'm sorry about that. But as you can see, this is the final rendition of the habitat. It is looking really cool, I think. We got a lot of people in the zoo now. But yeah, so you can see we have all the people in here hanging out, looking at the koalas and the kangaroos. We haven't yet put some new animals in. I still haven't decided whether or not we should add more. But yeah, they're loving it. The people love it. And as you can see, over here we have the finalized warehouses. I kind of like the way they look. They're very simple, but I think this is kind of what I was imagining, what I was going for. So as you can see, they're just very basic, just really simple warehouses. But we do have, so we did put in some windows over here so that the guests can come and see them when they're in here. So we might dress this up a little bit more, but for now, this is just kind of how it's going to stay. But we do have these windows on the top so that it's kind of like an open air concept, and we have that on every single one of these tops. So, you know, you would imagine the animals coming in and out of there, a lot of poop, a lot of hay, so it's kind of stinky. So we have that so that we can get some air circulation in. And then over here, we have the nursery. As you can see, we have a few babies in here already. So these babies are all going to be released into the wild. We're mostly going to keep the animals in the exhibits kind of here forever, and then all their babies will be released to the wild to kind of help with the rehabilitation of the different animals. So as you can see, I didn't really make it too fancy. It's kind of just a temporary location for them. I would imagine they spend more time inside where they can be supervised. Maybe they get some, you know, playtime outside during the day. But yeah, so we have a little bit of space for the baby koalas. As you can see, all climbing up here. They're so cute, little babies. And then the little kangaroos run around and have fun. But yeah, so this is the final rendition. I love it. It came out exactly how I wanted to. The buildings are a nice go-away green color. I think that looks kind of cool. So that when you're over here, if we can get over here, you can kind of, like, they kind of just blend away. They're not too noticeable back there, which is super awesome. I really love it. But yeah, the guests are loving this exhibit. The kangaroos are the most popular animal in our zoo right now. We only have 2, but they are the most popular. But yeah, I'm definitely loving the way this came out. We definitely got the that all cleaned up over there, so the guests are spawning over here. As you can see, we got guests coming in and leaving right there, and we did get the gates fixed, so people can come in and out over here. They're all using that one entrance and exit though, so whatever. And we do need to fix the area over here. I can't remember if we put the paths in so that people can actually get in here, but it doesn't look like it because we have no people in here. So we're gonna need to fix that. I'll do that off camera. But I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up this episode. If you guys ever want to watch a Planet Zoo build in real time, like I said, just make sure to check out my Twitch. I usually stream Planet Zoo on Saturdays from 3 to 6, and I use those live streams, and I do them like this. We go through and we look at the build. But yeah, the live stream is also already posted on the channel, so you can go ahead and watch that if you want to see the more organic process of everything getting implemented. The next build that we're going to be doing is the Cassowary Exhibit, which is just on the other side there. So I'm super excited about that. I know they have a really dense kind of rainforest vibe, so I'm really cool to kind of see how that turns out. So, other than that, I will see you guys in the next episode. Let me know in the comment section if there's anything that you want to see, or if you have any suggestions or recommendations, or if there's anything you want to say about the zoo. Just leave those in the comments below. I would love to reply to those. Yeah, but other than that, I will see you guys in the next episode. Have a good morning, evening, night, whatever time it is, wherever you are. Goodbye!